Right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our session on AppSec evolution here at DevSecCon 2025. We're going to be talking today about elevating from task management to strategic governance and prevention. So, my name is Kate Burke. I'm a senior product marketing manager here at Snyk. I've been a member of the team for 3 years, and I'm thrilled to have you all join us from all corners of the world as we talk about AppSec governance. Today, I am joined by my colleague Itai Mayor, who I'll pass over to now.
Thanks, Kate, and hi, everyone. I'm Itai Maor. I'm a senior manager on the product organization. I've joined 2 years ago, and today I'm leading the team responsible for governance workflows, mainly policies and ignores, which is what we're going to cover in the session today.
Great. So, in today's talk track, we are going to look at what application security changes have been made in the age of AI. We'll see how a governance strategy that's centered around collaboration with developers is key to AppSec success. And so, we'll start by looking at that current tech landscape and the implications it has for AppSec teams now that the left has shifted. We'll demonstrate why we believe here that visibility is the core foundation of a successful AppSec governance program, and how Snyk delivers this. We will highlight the necessity of a collaborative and even symbiotic relationship between AppSec and developers. And along the way, we'll be showing off new Snyk innovations to help teams in their quest for governance. And we'll wrap it up. So, as a reminder, you've got the Q&A and chat available to you throughout the session. Please feel free to post your questions there. So, let's take a look at governance in the age of AI. We understand, and you're probably hearing it not only here at Snyk, but throughout the industry, right? It's a familiar tune that AI is bringing unprecedented speed and change to development. On the one hand, there's more for teams to focus on. The volume of code itself has been drastically increasing over the years with the introduction of coding assistants like Copilot, Gemini Code Assist, Cursor, and more code means more vulnerabilities. It's coming at us faster, so AI has increased the pace of development and the speed at which devs and non-dev app builders can create code and build apps. And then finally, there's a significantly increased attack surface associated with introducing machine learning models into software. So we've got more to focus on. It's all coming faster. There's more attack surfaces, and that introduces challenges. So when the left is shifting, the left is building in new ways with new tools. We have to adapt on the security side, and governance is a way to do so, elevating our teams and introducing measures to deal with the volume at scale. So some of the questions that teams are faced with today, what software assets exist in my ecosystem? Are they all covered? Do I have coverage gaps? And then with the info that I'm ingesting, what do I do with it? How am I measuring whether there's an impact in my efforts? How do I ensure my fixes won't cause breaking changes? And then how can I also implement some secure coding practices so that my devs can code more safely in the future? Because teams lack visibility on where AI is being used in development, and we also know that AI-generated code is highly vulnerable, it's challenging to prioritize remediation efforts and to scale AppSec programs successfully. And that's why we believe we're in the midst of, and we must embrace evolution for AppSec. We're delivering a framework to help make it more comprehensive and more understandable and easy to implement. So our framework includes discovery, analysis, remediation, and prevention. We're answering questions that previously felt overwhelming so that you can meet these new challenges head on. And we're doing so by investing in the AppSec experience, which inherently requires governance for success and scale. Historically, Snyk's story has been very, very dev first, and it will continue to be. And we're just broadening our horizons to ensure that AppSec, the other side of that coin, are able to grow as needed as well. So let's take a look at this first area of discovery, which is The cornerstone of that is visibility. I'll now pass it over to my colleague.
Thank you, Kate. So today we're talking about how to elevate your AppSec program from a reactive tactical issue hunt to strategic proactive risk management. The core problem is that the speed of modern development, like you just said, Kate, accelerated further by AI, is overwhelming AppSec teams, leaving them with critical visibility gaps. They don't know about all the applications being built, and for the ones they do know about, they can't easily tell how secure or how important they are. This makes effective prioritization and scaling virtually impossible. Snyk Essentials is designed to help you operationalize your program through three key pillars. First, asset discovery. You can't really secure what you cannot see. And Snyk Essentials automatically discovers all repositories across all the SEMs, creating a complete inventory. This instantly answers the question, what software do we have and is it being tested? And it gives you a data-driven view of your security coverage, highlighting immediate risks like the percentage of repositories that aren't being tested. The second critical pillar in operationalizing your AppSec program is enriching your inventory with asset context. A raw list of vulnerabilities is overwhelming and not actionable. Effective prioritization requires understanding of the business importance of each asset. Snyk Essentials makes this possible by seamlessly ingesting and leveraging critical data points. So, for example, leveraging SEM metadata, we prevent managing asset logic in multiple places. If you've already classified repositories using SEM metadata like GitHub topics or tags, Snyk Essentials leverages this context immediately for filtering and reporting out of the box. Another example would be identifying dormant repositories. Dormant repositories contain stale, unmaintained code and represent a hidden risk. Knowing this allows you to strategically archive them, target specific vulnerabilities, or classify all the active repositories as Class A to ensure security focus is on evolving code. This final pillar is where governance comes to life, using your visibility and context to enforce standards and identify gaps. Asset policies allow you to set rules based on asset context, like mandating that all Class A apps must run Snyk code weekly. This moves you from just tracking coverage to actively controlling coverage, ensuring your most important assets are protected by the right controls. Policies are key to identifying and alerting on coverage gaps. You define your requirements, and the system flags any asset that doesn't meet them. This surfaces compliance issues and can even help identify broken STM integrations if tests aren't running as required. Now, we accelerate time to value with these out of the box templates, including the widely used new repo alert policy. This immediately notifies you when a new discovered repository hasn't yet been configured for testing with Snyk. Additionally, class prioritization can be automated with policies, ensuring every asset is assigned a priority and no asset is left behind. With security oversight and the implementation of governance measures through policies and other mechanisms, it is crucial to be mindful of the potential impact to developers. Security and governance is not successful if it slows down developer productivity. Rather, a good app's governance practice is collaborative in nature. Security should work alongside developers within their own workflows. Building on the foundation of asset policies, our second governance mechanism is PR checks. The core purpose here is to stop new vulnerabilities from entering the codebase, aligning perfectly with the Snyk's vision of shifting left. By configuring PR checks, you automatically fail a pull request when certain conditions are met, such as introducing a new critical vulnerability of a certain severity. And you can also define whether to fail on issues that are not fixable at this point in time or on existing versus only new issues. And this is critical governance measure because it gives developers immediate contextual feedback right in their workflow. This approach maintains high developer velocity by preventing costly rework later, ensuring that security is non-negotiable part of the merge process. We've just discussed guardrails and asset policies, which are essential for proactive governance. However, even with the best policies, you will inevitably encounter a situation where a fix is just not possible, or the effort simply isn't worth the minimal risk. This is where ignores become a key feature of the AppSec program. They're not about bypassing security. Ignores are about reducing noise and empowering your teams to focus on vulnerabilities that are truly actionable and pose a material risk. This ensures your developers aren't wasting time chasing false positives or minor issues with extremely high remediation costs. Crucially, these ignores must be unified. If a developer ignores an issue in their IDE, for example, the very same ignore must be respected when the code hits the PR check or recurring test kicks in. Moreover, similar issues across different branches need to be ignored as well. Otherwise, you're just risking it failing the pipeline after merging the branch. Snyk provides this smooth, consistent experience across the entire SDLC. Whether it's the CLI, IDE, or the CI/CD pipeline, so the developers trust the system and aren't forced to deal with the same issue again and again. I'm excited to share that Ignore Approval Workflow is now available in early access. As you've seen with the June GA of Code Consistent Ignores, we are investing in our Ignore experience to help reduce noise, avoid code breakages, and allow customers to operate in their definition of acceptable risk in favor of supporting a rapid, smooth developer workflow. Ignore Pro workflow is built on top of code consistent ignores and allows developers to unblock their workflows by requesting ignores. The value prop of Ignore Approval workflow really falls on both sides of the fence, developers and AppSec. Developers gain efficiency from being able to ignore vulnerabilities in workflow in a single click, which minimizes disruption and helps them avoid failing PRs in a pipeline. On the other hand, AppSec gets the governance layer on top of these ignore requests to make sure that no vulnerability lands in production without their awareness. Now, let's see this in action. So in this demo, I'm going to play both the role of the developer and the AppSec person. Starting with the developer, I'm using my IDE that I'm sharing on my screen right now, and I'm using the Snyk plugin. And let's say that I came across this finding that I believe needs to be ignored. I simply click on the Create Ignore button, and I need to select the ignore type. Let's say want fix. Expiration is not mandatory. Let's leave it as never. And ignore is mandatory for compliance reasons. So let's say not sensitive data. And I click Submit Request. What happens now is that I'm submitting an ignore request, and this request is pending. Pending means that I can see it as pending, but other developers can also see that this finding has a pending ignore request. It also means that this issue is not ignored yet, not until it gets approved. Okay, so it will keep showing in subsequent tests. Also, AppSec now receives an email, but not just AppSec. It could be anyone with the relevant permission. So it could also be a security champions in your organization. They will get an email saying that there is a new ignore request pending their approval. And with the link from that email, they go here to the Snyk platform and they see the request that we just submitted. When they click manage, they see all the details. They see the reason that we filled in. They get some information about the vulnerability itself, and they see where in the code this vulnerability exists. Finally, they need to make their decision whether to reject or approve. Let's say that I choose to approve this. I can add comments that will become immutable after I click submit, again for compliance purposes. And once I click submit, the developer gets an email saying, hey, your request was approved. And when they go to the IDE and they run the test again, notice here just below the server.js, I will run the test again and you will be able to see that this finding is now ignored. You can see this finding is now ignored. And this is exactly the governance layer that we provide with ignore approval workflow on top of the ignores. And with that, I will hand it over back to you, Kate, to speak to the other aspect of governance.
So we've seen how Snyk delivers comprehensive visibility and the mechanisms to implement governance at scale. You're shifting left with features like ignore approval workflow and PR checks. Maybe your devs are also using Snyk Agent Fix to automatically apply fixes based on AI enhanced intelligence. But what kind of difference is this shift having on your overall security posture? How can you tell if you're moving the needle? For this, we need data. We also know that data alone won't tell you the whole story. So, with the growing complexity that AppSec teams are facing with the security challenges of this new shifted left, we need to invest in ways to deliver analysis ready data sets and customizable fashions to help programs as they mature beyond just finding issues to actually preventing them and demonstrating a positive impact to security posture. To do so, our data needs three qualities, right? It needs to be enriched, customizable, and extensible. And that's what we're delivering you with Snyk Analytics. We're delivering customizable, actionable dashboards to help effectively measure the health of AppSec programs across the entire organization, as well as demonstrate risk reduction and showcase the value of shifting left by tracking more than just issues found and fixed. There's been a huge area of investment for Snyk over the last 12 to 18 months, so I'm excited to show you a little more. Let's start with enriched data. So, Snyk data is enriched with valuable business and application context, as you heard Itay say earlier. Snyk automatically applies tags to assets based on inherent metadata and factors such as does this asset hold PII or other sensitive data? Is it a business critical asset? This context is then available throughout the entire Snyk platform to drive prioritization and focus, as well as support initiatives to tackle vulns related to compliance. Next, your data should be customizable. So, building on capabilities such as saved report views and customizable dashboards, this year we're pleased to offer an overhauled user interface, including tenant level analytics. So, this new landing page features a widget inventory that allows users to kind of select and arrange widgets based on personalized information and the data that you need, the metrics that are relevant to your needs with that context that you need. And the saved views allow others to discover them as needed. Finally, extensibility. This is a critical piece, that final piece, because many of us are using our own BI tools to process data, and the volume of data you're getting from Snyk needs to be incorporated into those results. And so last year, Snyk released Snowflake Data Share, allowing you to unlock kind of the full potential of your Snyk data and correlate that alongside existing Snowflake data. Key point being, no data engineering was required for this, and we are continuing to build capabilities here for customers that may not be using Snowflake. So this year, we have announced the general availability of our export API, allowing customers to seamlessly connect data to third-party tools and data lakes, streamlining that security analysis process and providing a holistic view of your security posture. And extensibility, really, just to double click on it, is core to the story of governance because it allows you to showcase the efforts that you're making upwards to your CISO, to security leadership, to business leadership. That investment in your AppSec posture should be celebrated. So we do that by streamlining our data to your BI platforms and existing security, including your existing security dashboards. We're reflecting performance metrics and KPIs such as the mean time to resolve, SLA compliance, remediation trends, and more, and helping you measure the performance of fixed behaviors against SLAs and much, much more. So please go try our new Expert API. We're thrilled to offer it to customers. In addition to the Expert API, I want to spend a few moments sharing some new reports from Snyk, including, first and foremost, our Agent Usage to IDE report, which is now available in early access. So this allows you to gain visibility into Snyk adoption in AI-driven development environments. So you see granular insight into agentic scans by the specific host application, whether it be Windsurf, Cursor, or others, as well as gaining visibility into the platforms that devs are using they're leveraging to secure their code, like the Snyk CLI, IDE plugins, and agentic scans. Additionally, I'm pleased to share that we have Snyk Learn, our education program, our security education program for developers, bringing reports directly into the Snyk app UI for the first time. So first up, we recently announced the general availability of the Snyk Learn Engagement Report, providing a comprehensive view of your learning programs over time, including lessons completed, breakdowns of lessons, and total learners by ecosystem, helping to understand trends in user behavior, correlating to compliance requirements, etc. And then, secondly, as teams are investing in their developer security education experience and programs, we want to help demonstrate the value of that investment. And we're doing so with a new report coming soon, which is the Impact and Opportunity Report from Snyk Learn. This is bringing key information together around lesson completion data, as well as issue resolution and issue prevention data. So it answers that key question of what is the impact of learning engagement on issue prevention in my environment? If I'm able to assign out a lesson on one of our most frequently occurring vulns, cross-site scripting, 100% of my developers take this lesson and we see a drastic reduction in the introduction of that vuln, then we know that our learning is having an impact and we can continue to invest, right? We're also providing in this report intelligent recommendations based on common vulns within your Snyk ecosystem. And finally, I would love to share kind of a vision that we have moving forward from Snyk Analytics. And today, teams have the ability to use the customizable interface to show the return on things like preventative testing. But we also have a new upcoming report from the Snyk data team that will show PR check success rates. And when you combine this data with other reports like the IDE or CLI report and the test usage in the IDE report, these three data sources will syndicate, and our vision is to develop an issue prevention report showcasing the real impact of your prevention efforts. So stay tuned for more excitement from the Snyk data team. We also have plenty more coming from our AppSec experience team in the coming months as we continue to invest in the areas of governance. And as we approach the end of this session, I just want to take a look back at that earlier slide where we talked about governance and the need for AppSec to evolve. In the area of discovery, you saw today how we are gaining a complete view of software asset inventories with Snyk Essentials. You saw how we're gaining customizable, enriched data sets from Snyk Analytics, how we are lifting barriers to focus on the vulns that matter most with ignores, and finally, how we can prevent recurring vulns with Snyk Learn security education. So I want to thank you all so much for joining today's session. It was a pleasure having you, and we look forward to seeing you again soon.